Welcome back. From this part onwards, we actually start to code our UI. Make sure that you focus your 100% attention here and focus mostly on how to do things rather than just following up with me. In this part, we will be making all the pages in Tkinter. That's been said, let's hop onto the desktop. So we are on our desktop screen right now and we'll start making an application. To make an application, we will go to the drive you desire. In this case, I want to make my project on my S drive. So let's create a folder here, name it todo application. Uh, and then under this folder, I want to create another folder which is called SRC. And under SRC, I want to paste in another image called content. And this is actually not an image. This is a file containing image. And these are nothing but the renders that we previously had on Figma. That is one of the reason why I was telling you Figma is very important. Now, let's go into our to do application folder, and now we'll be opening it in a Visual Studio Code window, and a window will pop up. Now you have to do all your stuff here in the Visual Studio Code window. First of all, what we'll be doing is I'll be creating a folder called settings.py uh, under my SRC. Make sure that it is under SRC, not under content. Yeah, I had my okay. I did some mistakes there. So now in settings.py, we are going to store some variables which will be affecting our whole application. So this is like a control panel to us where we can tweak in some settings and then the whole application get affected, like variables like height and width that completely affects the application. We are going to do it and store all those variables in settings.py. So this is why it is very necessary. So let's store our width of the application is going to be, I guess, 780, and the height of the application is going to be 520. And yes, leave one space, always leave one space, otherwise you Python makes some errors there. Now let's create a file here, register.py. Now in register.py, we are going to create our register window. So this is where your actual application making process starts. So we are obviously going to do our UI part, not the functionality part that we are going to cover later on our course. So first of all, let's create a class here. Let's basically make a Tkinter window. That is something that we want to do it the way I do it, because this is like the best practice that you can ever have to work with Tkinter application. So let's create a class and do it like a register underscore window. Now let's create a constructor underscore init constructor. Always you want to have self in it. I also want master, so that I can spawn some windows. I don't want to do it inside the init function, otherwise this creates a lot of mess. This is not a good practice. And I want to have a super function to inherit some of the variables from different classes, if that helps in future. So this is a very future proof project, that as you can see. Now first of all, before creating an application, we want to import Tkinter. So I'm going to import Tkinter as tk. I'm going to also import some of the basic things, like from Tkinter import labels. This is something that we are going to need. We are also going to need photo image to display some images. This is all I guess I want to need from Tkinter. Now what we'll be doing is I'll be creating a window. So the master which we will be taking from user, I mean from let user pass the master to us. Now we'll be producing a title for our application, CITTL. I guess my spelling is right. um, I want to name my application as register. So this will be our title of the window. Let's decide the geometry of window. GEOMETRY. Okay, I will be giving it in f strings, basically because I want it to be controlled from another module which is settings.py. So I'll be inheriting it from settings.py. So from settings, import width and height. Now let's import width and height. So I guess it's width and height. Don't confuse it with other different types of application used everywhere. Like some of application APIs like to have width and height, or height or width. So basically, Kinter expects you to give width first and then the height first. Okay. Now that's done. Let's see our application runs. So let's create a root here so that we have to pass master to our class. So tk dot tk, and let's create an object first. So like window, that makes a lot of sense to me. Let's create an object. Okay, register window. Let's pass in master, which is root, and then we'll give it a main loop so that our application won't stop running. Root dot main loop. Okay, now yeah, let's let's run and see if it works or not. Yeah, it does work. Now our basic application is set up. Now we have created our basic window. Now we want our background image. To apply background image, we have to first load our image into a variable first, and to do it in constructor, we always have to put self behind every single variable that we make. And in this case it's self dot image. So image is a variable and you have to put self behind it. So now I'm going to store it in self dot image. So I will be using photo image function from Tkinter. So what we have to pass is, we have to pass in file name, and in file name we have to pass in file location. So it is under my src folder, my content, and under register.png. I guess it's register.png. Let me see. Yes, it's register.png. Now we stored it inside this img variable. Now you have to put it somewhere, right? To put it somewhere, we are going to use labels here. So let's create a variable called background first. Let's create a label first, and then let's define where we want to put our label. So I want to put it on my master window, so it's master here. I hate Python when Python do this. Okay, fine. Under, I guess I hate when VS Code do this, not Python. Now we have been passing master right now. Now I want to mention what kind of image I want to put there. So generally label accepts text, but yeah, you can use images with it also. So I'll pass in self.image, so it knows key, yeah, this image we want to put it on a background. Now I want to pack this on my screen, otherwise it won't show. Now as I pack, you can see all this image is working. Okay, fine. I got some error here. Let's see what it is all about. Content register.window, no such file directory found. Okay, I guess yeah. So you have to put a dot as well. This is a relative path actually. Yeah, as you can see, this actually do works, and yeah, that is pretty much it. Now that has been set up right now. You have your background image and your application is already looking good and in shape. Now let's add some entry boxes, and now what module I'm going to use is custom Kinter. Custom Kinter is something which is more modernized than Kinter. Kinter doesn't look that modern. So to install custom Kinter, you just simply have to do pip install custom Kinter, and my requirement is already satisfied, so I don't have to think about it so much. So from custom Kinter, okay, what we are going to import, we are going to import ctk buttons, because we are going to need buttons for our application. We also want entry box, so ctk entry. These both things we want. Now I'll be putting it. So first of all, I'll put in username entry. Just make a variable and we want to put our entry box. So username entry and then ctk entry, name of which window we want to put it on, master. Width, which I want it to be 200 because that gets pretty much because the entry is the entry box default width is so small and it's very uneven and that doesn't look so good, so I want my width to be a little bigger. Now uh, we okay, fine, we also want to put in a placeholder text, so let's enter username here. By the way, this looks so ugly. We'll be placing it this way. This is actually the good way to write your yeah, uh, entry box. So now let's place our username entry dot place. We don't have to pack it, otherwise it will go it will be complete mess. So let's estimate our x and y. So I guess our x should be near around 300 and my y should be around 200. Let's see if that looks good. We are going to tweak it. Okay, fine. That actually looks good. Now I know what you are thinking. You might be seeing those yellow. Sorry, you might be seeing those white edges that though doesn't look so good. Yeah, we are going to address that in a second. By the way, don't have to take care about that for the moment. Now, let's duplicate this and we'll just simply change the variable name. I'll name it password entry. We'll just be changing the placeholder from username to password, and my y would be like around 5 240. That is actually, oh no, that's not enough. I guess it should be around 270, I guess. Yeah, that actually looks good. Now I'm going to also duplicate it. Now I'm going to make some changes to it. uh, Instead of CTK Kenter entry, I'll be putting CTK button. I'm going to change few things, like I don't want placeholder, I want it to be text and I want text to be submit. And I guess I'll be adding more. uh, I guess it should be 360. Okay, that's a lot of space. I'll be doing it 350 if that makes difference. 330. Yeah, that looks good. Now we'll be okay, everything works. Now we'll be addressing these white edges which look so ugly. So first of all, we'll go in Figma. Now this is all over a kind of jugaad, you can say it. So basically what we are going to do is we are going to change the background image of our entry boxes. So yes, we'll be going to our project and I want the color of this background, so it is 0079 AD and I'll be copying it from the fill tab and then I'll be putting it under the background. So you have to put it like this, bg color, and then put a hash and then paste it down here, and you have to duplicate it again and again on your password entry and your okay. I've repeated my buttons here, so it is submit button, not submit entry. And I'll be changing it here as well. It's submit button, not submit entry. Yeah. Now I have changed the color across our application and you can actually see that looks so dope. That looks so dope. And yes, we are done with our register window. So fast, right? Now I'm going to copy my whole code here and I'll be making another folder under src. We'll name it login.py and let's paste it here. I'm going to change in few things from register to login. Design design was the most hardest part, by the way, guys, and we are already done with it. Now I'll change it from login. I'll change this register to login. I am going to add a different thing here, which is CTK checkbox. This is the only different thing here. Now, under password, I'm going to add a variable called stay sign in to give user an option to stay sign in on account or not. So stay sign in, and then I'm going to put in CTK checkbox. I want it to be under master. I want its width to be 200. I want the text to be like keep me signed in. Okay, and I want my background color to be this. Okay, I'll add in hash manually. You always had like you should be adding hash, otherwise it won't work. And now I'll be placing it stay sign in dot place. Uh, Guess I'll copy these parameters and I'll change in some values like 310. That looks good. Okay. Yes. Let's try running this. Okay, that is a mess actually. I have to increase my button to be like around 360, I guess. Yeah, that is not that bad. Not that bad. Buttons are a little bit uneven, but yeah, you get the point. What I want to achieve here. So yeah, we are also done with our login.
So now what we are going to do is I'm going to create an image called file called todo.py, and I'm going to make I'm going to move it in src folder. I don't know, for some reason VS Code really don't like me to put it src. Okay, fine. Now I'm going to copy the login code and paste it exactly as like we desire. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove all the text boxes, all the check boxes that we don't really want. And rather, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in here user.png, which is actually a file, which is actually an image of a user. It is a transparent PNG file that I downloaded from the internet somewhere. I'll link it down below if you want it. Now, what I'm going to do is actually I want my login window to have some frames. Rather, I won't be doing it exactly similar to how I did for login and register window, because this is a total different thing. So to achieve to achieve exactly like this, we have to do certain things. Now, what I'll be doing is I'll be creating frames here, and then I'll be rendering out few certain elements on that frame. Rather, I'll not be doing it using place and uh, pack command. So yeah, first of all, let's configure a grid structure of our application. So to do that, let's not call this master first of all. Let's call this as uh, uh, to do window. That sounds really good. Okay, let's make it to do window. I'll change it from login to do. Let's do something. Okay, I'll add a f string here. I'll name it username. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to also take in a parameter called username. And here in root, I'm going to pass in Kshitij as my argument as a user so that it shows up everywhere. My spelling's very wrong. Yeah. Let's start the application. Let's see if it works. Yeah, it actually works. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set a background image for our application. So I'll name it bg underscore color. I guess it's config. Let me see. Config. It's, I guess it's config. And then I'll put in one minute. I'll put in this value. This is actually what I wanted. Now this actually looks so good. I want this light background here. So this is the same color that I use for the light. Sorry, I use for the dark background because I want to keep everything dark initially at the default. Now that's been set up. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to render out few frames. First of all, we'll configure our main window into grid. So we'll do it like to do window dot grid underscore column configure. I'm going to put it 1 and weight as 1. I'm going to copy the same thing here and I'm going to configure the rows as 0. I want the rows to start from 0, not from 1, and you'll get that in a sec. And now once our grid is configured, let's see if it runs quite well or not. Otherwise we had some mistakes going on in our application. Yeah, this actually works. So my spellings are correct because IntelliSense doesn't recommend me these things. So I am really quite skeptical about the spellings of how this thing works. Now I'm going to change this self img to user because this looks actually good. Yeah, that was something which was bothering me. Now let's create two panels here first of all. So I'm going to remove this checkbox here, or rather I put it CTK frames. I'm going to create two frames, which is called setting panel and to do panel. So I'm going to do settings panel, and then I'm going to put in a CTK frame here. CTK frame here on to do window. I want its width to be around 200, not more than that. And then I'm going to do it settings. I guess I won't put width. I want to make it the auto scalable. Setting panel dot grid. I want to place it in a grid. I want it to start from row 0 and column to be 0 actually, and I want to keep its corner radius actually to 0, but let's see what happens. So yeah, you can see it has quite a lot of corner radius, so I'm going to bump it down to 0. Corner radius to 0. I want to make it sticky because I want to kind of stretch it. So I want it from north, south, east, west. Yeah, see, now we have this beautiful frame here. Now I'm going to do the same. I'm going to do the same here with the to do panel. So on my left it will be setting panel, on my right it will be to do panel. So I'm going to remove this setting panel. I'm going to put it to do panel, and I'm going to place it on column number 1. Okay, that's a mess actually. I'm going to avoid going to west, rather put it on east. Okay, completely sticked there. And I want to put the corner radius to be 0. Let's see again what happens. So this is not looking good to me actually at this point of time. So I guess the all those columns are sticking to each other. The two panels are sticking to each other. So to avoid that, I'm going to add padding. So I'm going to pad 20 x or y and pad x to be like 20. So we get quite a difference between those two panels. So this actually looks good. Now we are done with most of the part. Now what I'm doing is I'll be adding few buttons here. So I'm be copying the same code from login here, and I'll be reusing it. So from submit button I'll add in uh add button, which would be good. Add button. and I'll be adding it on to do window, not panels. I'm going to change it from submit to add, and I won't be using place here. I will be using what is called as grid. Uh, and inside grid, I want it to be on the row 10th and column on 1 actually. Let's see if it works. Let's see if it works. Yes, it actually works. We got the button where I actually wanted it to be. Now, what I'll be doing is here, I'll be adding few buttons, few labels, few text. So first of all, let's add in user image here. You can fetch it if you want it from the database, but I'll be doing it here manually because we don't have a database to work with images at this point of time. But yeah, the implementation is quite easy. So I don't have a CTK label here. I'll be adding it in a CTK label. So now what I'll be doing is I'll be doing it like CTK label and be adding it under setting panel here, and under setting panel, first of all, let me grid it. Let me grid it, please. I'll be gridding it to row 0 and column on column 0 actually, because my whole setting panel is on 0. Now I'll be adding in a file here. I guess I've it is named as image. So I'll be adding in an image called as self.user, which we actually actually put it here. So we are calling this image file which has been stored here. And yes, you can actually see it working. But now what I hate the most is because this has been squashed according to the image. So now what if I want to expand it, and you can see that CTK label there, and and if I don't want it there, what I'll be doing is I'll be adding in text first, and I'll be adding text empty. So now the whole issue is gone regarding the CTK label text on the image. And now I'm going to pad it X to over 20 and pad Y to 20. So that actually makes it look a little cool. I guess I'll increase the pad X value to 30 if it really looks good. Yeah, that is actually not that bad. Now what I'm going to do is, what I'm be going to I'm messing this. What I'll be going to do is, now I'll be adding a label of the username. I will be copying the same text here, and I'll be changing it from user image to user username, and then I'll be adding it on panel, and then I'll be adding it on row 1 because our image is on row 0. I'll be replacing the self image user here because I don't want image at this point. Rather, I want is a text of username, my username here, which I took as parameter. Uh, I want my font in the tuple. So Roboto. I guess my font is Roboto. Uh, let me look for my font. Which font I'll be using here? Roboto Medium. Really sorry there. And then I want my font size to be 16. Let's see. Yeah, I can see my name here. My padding is quite a lot there. It should be 10, not 20, because uh, 10 is like a lot. Now what I'll be doing here is I'll be adding a CTK toggle, what I call it switch. Now what I'll be doing is here, I'll be copying this entire section again, and I'll be changing it from username to theme dark, and I'll be placing it on the column here, and then I'll be adding it on column number 3, and I guess it's 1 and 3, yeah. And I'll be adding in a bracket here because it was giving me so much issues. Okay, fine. And I'll add in dark mode. And before that, I want to add a button as well. So I'm going to copy the same thing here, and I'm going to add it. I'm going to add a button here. Name it logout logout button. That name is kind of self-explanatory. I'm going to change my text to logout. I'll not be using a CTK label. I'll be using a CTK button here. I'll not be using CTK label here on theme. I'll be using CTK switch here, and I'll be putting it on row 2. And yes, you can see this beautiful UI try not taking shape. I'll be adding it on row number 7. mm, CTK switch. Okay, a 3 is quite good. It is actually very adaptive. So yeah, we have done with the most of the stuff in our application. Now what I want to do here is I want to add an entry box here. So I'll be copying the same text here. I'll be adding it here, and then I'll instead of this I'll be adding it task entry. I'll be copying the same text here and then pasting it here. And under this CTK button, I'll be changing it to CTK entry. I'll be taking a width as 400, 450 actually. I don't want a BG color here. Instead of add, I want a placeholder. And my placeholder is task. Okay, task it sounds good. I want it on the to do window. Let's see how it works. First of all, how it looks. Okay, fine. I'll make it sticky. I'll make it sticky to west, and I'll make this button sticky to east. So we can see those gaps between those button and the text. Nice gap. Yes, it actually looks good. I don't want its width to be 200. I rather want it to be around uh 50. 50 would be good. Not that bad. Okay, fine. I guess I want it to be west and east, east and west. Mm, yes, and I'll gradually decrease the size of the label, the entry box there. I guess I'll put it west. I'll reduce the size here. I'll put it 400. Yeah, I'll put it on column 1 row. I guess I'll put it over east. This kind of creates a glitch there. Okay, what I'll be doing here is the solution is quite intuitive, but yeah, west and south, west, south, east. And what if I add north as well? Okay, west looks good. What if I put it on column number 2? Will that work? No, it won't. Column 1 was actually really good there. I guess these things are supposed to be this way. Okay, 450. It actually looks a lot better there. I simply can't figure out. Okay, east and south there. No. Um. Actually, I should actually add a padding here of around 10, and I'll do it west east. Let's see if it works. Okay. I guess it's a layering chronology. I guess let me try this one more time. Okay, no, my button is hidden. If I run button first and then Tkinter window. So let me decrease my width. Let me decrease my width there. Mm, okay. Let me put it 50. 50 is good. Okay. Why am I not able to fix this issue? West and east. Okay. My to-do panel is on the perfect way. Okay. I guess I'll put it west, south, east, west. Okay, no, that's not working either. I mean, my taskbar is like a total mess there. Okay, we can have a fix for that as well. What I'm thinking is, let's put it 450. We just have to do one simple thing. I just have to bring it here. Okay. What if I add a padding, like a padding of 10 on the X. Okay, that is absolutely good. That is absolutely good. Let's do it 11. Yep, that is working. Let's do it around 13. That's working. Certainly. I'll remove the padding of the add button. Rather put it there. I guess that is complete. This is our to do application and this looks absolutely amazing. That was it for this part. Hope you learned how to design pages in Tkinter using custom Tkinter. And in the next part, we'll be making navigations out of those pages that we have created. Till then, see ya. Bye bye.